folks. Old Josh McDaniels.
Hey, talk louder.
Old Josh McDaniels really blew it the other night on his play calling. I think the Raiders blew it when they hired him. They should have hired someone like Monica Lewinsky.
Oh.
Surely she's going to blow a few, but she won't choke on the big ones, boys.
And that was your moment with Pat.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it was going somewhere. I love it.
He's been waiting 25 goddamn years to unleash that monster.
Hello, I'm Robert Stack, and you are listening to the Asscasters podcast.
Asscasters episode 17. Football everywhere, punches being thrown everywhere in multiple sports in the beginning of the hockey season, and we got ourselves some baseball playoff action. The Asscasters will walk you through everything today. You have got three of us, two Asscasters here in person that you can see us on video or not. Myself, Andy, here today. TJ, one of the Asscasters, also here in person, and tempting technology, we have Schawe in a remote location in a bunker somewhere north, south, east, west of the Rockies. How are you boys?
I am underground.
How are you boys?
God
Doing
damn
well.
it, Shaw.
What? What do you want me to say? I'm doing great. I was waiting for you to say something, or at least for you to cough, because you haven't stopped coughing the last 5 minutes.
Well, fucker, I thought you were going to go first, but my apologies.
It's okay. Nope, doing fine here in the bunker that is not in Hutchinson, Kansas. How are you doing, TJ?
I cannot complain. I've had a pretty good week of cooking, if that makes any sense.
That's always a good thing if you cook.
Oh, it's been my smoothies have been on fucking point. So I've had in turn I've had a great week of work, and
yeah,
it's been just fucking cruising along.
Nice.
Asscasters, speaking
What about you, Andy? How's your week up in the old capital?
I feel like I haven't been in my bed for a while. I've been in hotels for a long time at the good old capital city of Topeka, Kansas. It always strikes me, being in a government capital, that the first three digits of the zip code in Topeka, Kansas are 666.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Man, that's funny.
Not
But
one of my favorite.
glad to have you back, though.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. So speaking of great cooking, TJ and I are here in Wichita, Kansas, and Crazy Sharon, who you may have heard on the last podcast, just fed us something called mummy dogs. Kind of tasty, actually. Kind of like the mummy dogs, and they actually look like mummies. So that was impressive. Crazy Sharon, who gave you some input on the NFL last podcast, is very eager to tell you about her thoughts for Chiefs Bills coming up.
As she was last weekend.
Yes, she is psyched to make an appearance, and then also the old man, who has been making on and off guest appearances with some of his breaking news in the sports world, he is eager to tell us why he thinks Monica Lewinsky could be a good head coach candidate for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Wow.
Can I just walk off now? Because I don't want to be a part of that. I did not know that was on schedule.
It just got added to the notes.
That's crazy.
I need to start.
So what? I was gonna say, what makes the mummy dogs mummy dogs?
So they're wrapped in. They are tubular meats that are wrapped in bread. So kind of like a
Corn.
Yeah, kind of. And if you wrap the mummies the right way, you can kind of dress them up like mummies. You got kind of like a little wrap on their body, and then you can give them two little eyes made out of mustard, and then you give them a little headdress.
Yeah, they look like Jaundice ghost. Like the mustard eyes made them look like they had some nutrition deficiencies.
Mustard eyes.
So
love it.
We'll get hopping into episode 17. As always, we're brought to you guys by 3chai.com, our friends that help you get Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, help you relax, help you stay calm, just help you navigate your day. Go visit our friends at 3chai.com. So we'll hop right into NCAA football. You know what? There haven't been a ton of great games lately, but the headline game last week, unfortunately for Schawe, was the Red River rivalry. Say that 3 times fast. Texas destroys Oklahoma in a 45-0 bloodbath. We'll just turn it right over to you, Schawe. What did you see, and where are we at? Do we need to put a moratorium on Oklahoma after this?
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. But I really didn't watch a whole lot because it was just that frustrating to watch. Like I watched maybe the first half, and as expected, I didn't think the offense was gonna be as efficient without Dylan Gabriel, excuse me, in the lineup. Bevel, who was in the quarterback, he was a number 2 for OU, just wasn't able to really move the ball efficiently enough for that offense to be effective. And really, the best quarterback they had behind center was their tight end, Braden Willis. And it's not a good thing if the tight end is your best quarterback. And the defense, obviously, I would say they probably played a little bit better than they did against TCU, but still giving up 49 points. I mean, it's not anywhere near as good as you would want to see as far as improvements are concerned. And I think the season's done. I know a lot of people want to jump off the ledge and say fire Venables, fire the staff already. I'm under the assumption of waiting at least a year or two, see Venables and his coaching staff's recruits come in and see if they make any positive changes into this program, because obviously there's a lot of gaping holes on both sides of the ball. It's not just a defensive thing; it's obviously an offensive thing as well. That's an issue. So with Lincoln and Riley leaving, a lot of athletes left with him or went to another school, and that definitely didn't help OU. So just one of those years to just have to get through it, and hope next year is better, and hopefully the recruiting is as good as it was this year as far as getting commits for the next few years. And yeah, probably a good idea to put a moratorium on the OU Sooners this season, and look forward to next.
Good. That will give us more time for hockey.
Yes.
I really
That's fine.
I don't think they're that bad of a. Well, yeah, they are. I was trying to give them a little credit because TCU is legit and K-State is good. I'm not going to say they're legit, but they're good. So I was going to give them a little grace, but no. That loss to Texas is bad.
It's not good. I mean, in 3 straight losses, and then coming into a game against KU, who lost their starting quarterback to an injury, but
For
still
the
a
year.
very
No,
good defense.
we'll get into
And
that.
their
I don't
offense
think
is
that
not
was
too bad with their second string quarterback. So it's going to be another test for the Sooners, and I just don't know if they have the depth or even the players right now to pull away from that one. And at this point, you might as well start playing some of your younger guys to give them some college experience. So
I don't know if they do have a few remnants of the old regime there. So yeah, you do bring up a good point of letting the freshmen or the younger players get some action. I just, the one thing I did grab from that OU game, Quinn Ewers is a fucking good quarterback.
Quinn Ewers almost beat Alabama. So yeah, with Oklahoma, they've got some real issues. Shwema, your point, I don't really know. I would probably think that the people already calling for Venerable's job is much. I wouldn't think anybody reputable is doing that. That's probably more
Easton Schawe.
Well, that
Point.
So
Love you, Easton.
So but Oklahoma's in a weird spot. Like, they're getting ready to go to the SEC, so they're not going to have much patience for losing. And
yeah,
the era that we live with the transfer portal, I don't know how many recruits and existing players are going to want to try to be part of a rebuild, and that's almost what it looks like right now.
But doesn't the Doesn't the transfer portal and OU's name make it so much easier to rebuild and reload?
I don't know.
I mean, it's better than saying, "Hey, there's some open spots in Illinois." I mean, it's a more desirable location, I think, compared to some other schools. I mean, the history there. You have a program that at least on the outside, as far as recruiting and getting the facilities and alumni money, everything is great there. It's just the on the field product right now is just lacking for this season.
So I've got some disturbing stats as it relates to Oklahoma Sooner football. So
Yeah, we can get that.
so after starting out 3-0 against a whole bunch of nobodies, and yes, Nebraska, you're a nobody. So Oklahoma's lost 3 in a row. Now these are their 3 conference games that they've played. They gave up 41 to Kansas State, 55 to TCU, and just gave up 49 to Texas. So they in 3 games have almost given up 150 points. And here, looking towards the game this week against KU, this stat right here is mind-blowing. So Oklahoma is last in the Big 12 Conference as far as the amount of rushing yards that they've allowed. I'm not going to tell you that figure yet, but let's just say this. Most of the teams in the Big 12, as far as rushing yards allowed up to this point, we've got most of the teams are sitting there between like 600 and 700. The second to last team, so the team ahead of Oklahoma in rushing yards allowed, has given up 879. That is Texas Tech, who is also not great. The Oklahoma Sooners, getting ready to face Kansas, have given up 1,287 rushing yards.
Oh my God.
And somehow they are a 9-point favorite against KU this week.
I don't get how they're a favorite. How are
And KU rushes the goddamn ball like it's
like I said.
Oh my God.
It makes no sense. I thought I'd bring that to the table.
this place to add my new foot Sharon's laugh from the podcast? Like I don't believe that. Like that's bullshit.
I mean, I can see why.
You can see why what?
I can see why Vegas would. I mean,
if the name on that car ain't Oklahoma, they are not a 9-point
that's
favorite.
exactly that's why. I mean, that's exactly why it is.
What's
That's
even
stupid.
more troubling?
That's awful.
What makes even less sense is that this game opened at a 7-point line, so it's been bet to Oklahoma to the point where it's gone to a 9-point line.
That's ridiculous.
So people are betting on Oklahoma.
Okay, well, those people are fucking high.
I
I don't know. I don't think I would personally bet on them, but then again, I don't gamble.
Yeah, you're much smarter than most of us. God, that's a. I don't know. I don't know if I'd put my money on that game.
I wasn't necessarily going to bet that game at 7, but I
That's
think
I
think at 9. I think I got to throw down. I mean, I guess I see a little bit in it. Like, to your point, TJ, you had said something to the fact that you thought Jalen Daniels is out for the year. So, conflicting reports, not out for the year.
Is he not? What is he? I thought I saw he was out for the year too.
It was reported by an ex-KU reporter who is now, I believe, a freelance reporter that was the case.
His name is Freelance?
Yes, freelance.
Free Coney.
But it's my understanding that report, specifically from KU, has been shut down.
Interesting.
To the point that all they're saying with the status of Jalen Daniels is that he is most likely not available for this game against Oklahoma, and nothing beyond that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Well,
Interesting. All right.
Let's pretend. Well, fuck. I mean, we're gonna go into this game with the backup. I forgot what his name was.
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean. Is it really Mr. Bean?
Is it Jake Bean?
I don't know what his first name is.
Andy, turn around.
Okay.
Turn around and grab that. No.
Oh.
What is that? What are you grabbing there?
It's Mr. Bean.
Is
I have
it really?
Yeah, I have a Mr. Bean doll I bought at Piccadilly Square. Yeah, so just out of the random, it's right here.
That is hilarious. I love it.
Yeah. It's like she's
All
right.
right.
It's like she's right with us, emasculating me.
She will never leave us.
She's like Miss Havisham.
Havisham. Oh God. All right. Well, but yeah, I 9-point favorites to KU. I don't believe in that. I think KU wins that game closer to like 30. I'll say like 33-12. That's honestly, that's kind of how I feel about OU right now.
Yeah, OU's in a rough spot right now, so
It's just tough. So
It-
anyway, we can move past them finally.
okay,
please.
fair enough. So yeah, and I guess just tying a bow on KU moving into that game.
Yeah.
The backup quarterback that came in after Daniels got injured, I mean, he looked pretty damn good.
He threw that one duck, but it seemed more of a indecisive throw than a bad like. It just seemed like you expect that he's a backup quarterback going into his first game against a ranked crowd, packed house. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, but at least he can throw a ball, unlike OU's backups.
Jason Bean, so not Mr. Well, I guess
Jason
Well,
Bean.
he
I should have
is
remembered
Bean.
that.
What's Mr. Bean's first name?
Mr. It's on his birthday.
That's a good question.
It's like Pat.
Asscasters, I know we are not live, but if you could tell us Mr. Bean's real name.
Please get with us at Asscasters on Twitter and let us know if Mr. Bean has an alternate first name.
I mean, besides the actor's name, that's all I'm finding. So
Yeah.
if anyone knows, let us know.
So again, there weren't a ton of great games the last week in college football, but coming up here this next weekend, if you like college football, you're going to get everything you could possibly want with this schedule. This is awesome. So for folks here locally that like Big 12 football, we've just talked about KU, Oklahoma, but probably the bigger game in conference is going to be Oklahoma State against TCU. That should be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Alabama, if you're a fan of watching Alabama lose, they have a real shot this week of getting beat by Tennessee, who can score a ton of points. I think that game's also going to be interesting, and the health of Bryce Young, I think, is still up in the air, so that also kind of gives you a variable to play with there. In the Big Ten, Michigan's going to go up against Penn State. Michigan looks like they're going to be the fourth, well, maybe even better than the fourth team in the college football playoff. They look good. So if they can get past Penn State here,
Man, I ain't drinking that Kool-Aid. Hell no.
Michigan versus Clemson, as far as last team in, you'd take Clemson over Michigan?
I ain't buying either one of them.
Who are you going to put in their place?
Fuck.
USC?
USC, yeah.
Oh, what a good transition. I'll pretend you did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
I agree
that
with that.
smart.
USC playing Utah this week. Utah just lost to an undefeated UCLA team. Interesting. We talked about from a betting standpoint, we talked about the line for KU and Oklahoma being OU favored by 9. I am also scratching my head at this USC-Utah game coming up. Utah is favored by 3.5 in that game. I get it.
What is up with the betting lines this week? That just doesn't seem correct.
I don't get it. I was pretty stunned when I saw that. So
That's weird.
USC comes into that game undefeated, and I don't know. I think I've already bet that game actually. So that should tell you where I stand on that.
Didn't Utah, haven't they been just destroying USC in the last few years?
Well, yeah, I think so, but this is a different team.
Oh,
This
who
is a
are we
Lincoln
talking-
Riley offensive team,
that's
and
true. That's true.
they're. I mean, they flipped a 180, and so I just don't think that's the correct line. I think USC man, they're obviously the team to beat in the Pac-12, and I just don't think it's gonna be as close as they
But
think.
USC really struggles to hold down the fort defensively, especially in the
Weird.
run game.
Where did that system come from?
Yeah,
Oh,
sneaky,
weird.
sneaky, sneaky.
Put up 45, but give up 37. Weird how that
Maybe
works.
there is some validity to the line.
You're a mean one, Alex Grinch. Yeah, his defense is good.
Tickle my fancy.
But
No.
I still think USC will win that game though.
God, I'd love it if they didn't.
Too.
If somebody bet on USC's over/under for the season, I want them to win.
They can win one. Or they can lose one.
I'd rather them not. I don't want any stress.
I don't know.
You do that to yourself.
I like the sweat at the end of the season. Makes me feel alive.
I like the meat sweats.
Dude, with these Halloween doggers or whatever we had,
Mummy
dogs, I'm gonna have a serious case of the meat sweats. Like, these were all Hebrew national hot dogs with a little bit of jaundice eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that was off the rails.
What, you can't say jaundice eyes anymore?
No, not jaundice eyes. It was off the rails from what we were talking about.
Oh.
Yeah, mustard eyes.
Yeah.
So.
He's a regular mustard eyes.
Sharon, I think, was she saw these pictures of the mummy dogs. Like, that's how excited. I guess, like, when you're retired and don't have anything to do, you can get excited by seeing pictures of mummy dogs. And she was so she was so excited to make the mummy dogs and make them look exactly like the picture. She was trying to figure out how in the picture that they actually dotted the mustard on for the eyes, and it looked so perfect.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
She did a really.
You know, it's the thought that counts. You know.
It is, yeah. I mean, I've never had a mummy dog before, and now I have. Bucket list.
You know, I'm not usually a hot dog fan, having worked at Quick Trip for a very long time. But that was pretty damn good. Like, I'm ready to have another one while I watch hockey tonight.
Hell yeah, brother.
So, getting back on track, you guys have anything else NCAA football related that you guys want to tackle before we hop into the NFL and all the fun that's going on there?
Man, not really.
I love that Tennessee beat the shit out of LSU and Brian Kelly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I do like that. I love Josh Heupel doing good things after leaving UCF. You know, I'm happy for that guy, a former OU quarterback who won the national title in 2000. So good for him.
Ate everything put in front of him since.
And drank everything put in front of him. That boy.
Do you blame him?
No, but he is like, he needs to go get his fucking blood pressure checked.
Yeah, thick boy.
Alcohol will just that'll ruin your blood pressure, man.
Brian Dable's impressed with the physique.
Brian, someone, I don't know if we brought.
Kool-Aid's got me burping.
I don't know if we.
Josh Heupel, lover of Kool-Aid.
With sugar, not without.
I don't know if we brought this up on the podcast, but you guys have seen Josh Dable looks like Joel.
A fat version of him, yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Are we transitioning to NFL with that?
We can. We'll
Man,
use
I'm
that. We'll use that as a transition. So,
speaking of Joel, at a coach for the Giants, they're 4-1 already this year.
They are the week of NFL football that we were just put through, at least in a chronological sense, was pretty brutal. So we started with an absolutely awful rock fight between Indianapolis and Denver.
Beautiful.
And then we ended the week with two teams that actually do know how to score. Now, granted, they may go for the wrong scores at the wrong time. Hashtag Josh McDaniels, but they did end up on at least a good game Monday Night Football wise. But back to your point there, Schawe, are the Giants good at 4-1? And did you see any of their game? They were the first game of Sunday in London. Did you see any of that game against the Packers?
I only watched a little bit of it because I was traveling up to Hutchinson, so I gotta like watch/listen to it. Saquon Barkley, I mean, if he can stay healthy, is back to his old ways, and he's been having a great start to the year. Daniels has been playing fine. He hasn't really put him, or they haven't really put him in situations where they allow him to fail. So they kind of kept him somewhat safe. But they're playing with a bunch of wide receivers that are not their top four that have been just playing lights out for them the first 5 games, and it's been interesting to see. We thought this division would not be that strong, and really, they've been probably one of the better divisions in the NFL.
By record.
True. Well, okay, yeah, true by record, but at the same time, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Okay, so what other teams in the NFC are you like, oh my God, they're really good?
I would take Kansas City, the Chargers.
Sarcastically?
Kansas City is not in the NFC.
Listen,
the Chargers are
Dallas
not in
with
the
Cooper
NFC.
Rush at quarterback until they replace him with Dak.
I would take Kansas City, the Chargers, and the Raiders against Philadelphia, the Cowboys, and the
That's
Giants.
not the question.
Daily.
I understand that, but that's not the question. In the NFC, who's the team that's like, holy shit, they're going to win they're going to win it. They're going to win the
NFC,
conference.
The entire conference?
Yes.
Or the what? I'll say Philly. They're probably the most rounded team in the NFC right now.
And then who after that?
The Chiefs.
No, in the NFC.
I said what I said.
I hate all of you so much.
I'm just trying to think out loud. I really don't know
Thanks,
who
John
else.
Mayer.
I mean, in the NFC, it's not as strong as far as teams that can contend for a Super Bowl.
No,
It's like the East in the NBA, where teams that with 500 records or close to it are probably going to make the playoffs.
Yep.
So
I've also got a little bit of hesitation with Philadelphia from the following standpoint. So, okay, Philadelphia's 5-0. I won't take that away from them.
Weren't you like on their jock?
No, to win the I mean, I thought that they were going to win their division, but there's people talking that they're like Super Bowl good, and I'm like putting the brakes on that because here's one thing that is a stat to keep in mind for the Philadelphia Eagles. Through 5 games of the season, they have a turnover differential of +9, which is 4 higher than the next highest candidate. That is an unreal turnover differential. That isn't going to be happening the entire season. So that's going to come back to reality. So there's, I would say, a little bit of regressions in line, at least from a turnover standpoint.
Is that it?
yeah,
That's a big stat.
That's it though. They have a legit defense. That is a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Yeah.
It could get them. It could get them to the Super Bowl.
What
I'll
are
say
you?
you sounded like Pat there for a second.
That sounds like
I don't think you buy your own damn argument.
I
Fucking Gerbert. Asscasters, if you don't know who Gerbert is, you need to watch the Christian radio or Christian broadcasting. It was a little puppet, and he had very awkward comments to say about Christ.
He was goofy. Schawe also giving you a little bit of additional details on the New York Giants and the wide receiving core here. Tell me if you know any of the following people. Wide receivers that are currently active in catching balls for Daniel
Dayball.
Jones?
Daniel Jones.
Marcus
Jones soda.
Johnson, David Sills, Richie James, Darius
I grew up
Slayton.
with Richie.
What was the last one?
Darius Slayton would be your fourth.
I know.
wide receiver.
Yeah, Slayton would probably be the only one I would know the name of, not knowing much about him though. But yeah, I would agree with that. They don't even have their top receiving core in the lineup, and they're still winning games. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get anybody in that lineup and see how they do with like Sterling Shepard in the lineup and guys like that.
Yeah, Sterling Shepard's out for the year. He tore his ACL on the very last play of the game
Poor guy.
a couple weeks ago. Colin Johnson.
That dude cannot stay healthy.
Yeah.
Hang tight. We may have a
Former
visitor.
OU guy.
We may have a visitor ready to maybe switch teams. No.
Oh, she's calling it off.
Are we ready to discuss Kansas City against the Bills here, Sharon?
I'm worried.
Oh, why are you worried?
Oh,
Josh Allen.
So are you thinking that the Chiefs aren't going to win here?
It'll be close. If Mahomes played like he played with Tampa Bay, they'll win.
Ooh.
But if they play like the Raiders, I'll get too nervous.
How'd that go again, Sharon?
What?
Can you say?
Never mind.
Sharon, when you do get anxious watching the Chiefs play, what do you do to relieve your nerves?
I always feel like there's a pit in the bottom of my stomach. It's like nerves.
Do you do anything to relieve your anxiety?
I don't watch them.
Do you
I watched the last 47 seconds when the Chiefs had the ball and the Raiders had no timeouts. So I decided to watch them.
Oh, when they were done.
They won.
And then when you get too stressed out, you
and
watch.
Travis Kelce made 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
What a man.
Sharon's
He's
getting
Tom
flustered
Brady.
now.
He's Tom Brady's Gronkowski.
Gronkowski.
Gronkowski. Same thing.
Gronkowski.
All right, Sharon,
Gronkowski.
we'll let you continue on.
Oh, man. Ladies
That was
and
the Sharon
gentlemen,
minute.
that was our 68-year-old mother.
The mummy dog cook.
Yes, she made delicious mummy dogs.
Mummy dog.
She's also, she noticed that my Dallas Cowboys body pillow was a little ratted and tattered on the edges.
After it'd been
Mhm.
fucked for 4 years.
Yeah, I fucked it for a while.
I'm retired and domesticated.
Yeah, well, so is that pillow.
Oh.
But she's stitching up my Dallas Cowboys body pillow for me.
Nah, that's cute.
Yeah.
That's a nice mother for you.
And she bought us both cacti, and what are in Calaveras, and they're pretty damn cool. Like,
Nice.
it's gonna replace Pedro when we eat him.
I'm still waiting for you
What do
to
you
do
call
that.
this thing?
A Calavera, that's right. It's Calavera.
All right.
Your skull.
Well,
All right.
so do you
Getting
want
back
to
to
talk
shit.
about the Chiefs game coming up, or the previous game, or were we talking about something else for Sharon?
No. Let's hop into. I mean, if you want to talk about Chiefs Raiders and what you saw there, feel free. And then also moving forward to what the Chiefs got on their hands with the Bills this week.
You know, I will talk about the Chiefs and Raiders game. I'll start with. Man, I will say it was crazy, not crazy to see, but I mean, if you're a Raider fan, great to see them get off to a 17-0 start in Arrowhead on a primetime game. But who else would you want as your quarterback nowadays to lead your team back at a 17-0 deficit?
I don't know about you guys. Schawe, I
I'll say
wasn't
Cooper
really
Rush.
worried about. They were down 17, and I wasn't worried at all.
And you know what? Most Chiefs fans weren't because there was so much game left in that game. Well, time left in that game. Excuse me.
Yes.
But at the same time, you want your defense still to put up a couple of stops to help your offense out to get some more reps and more series out there. But at the same time, if your offense is going 3 and out or just you're not extending drives, it's not going to mean shit. But one of the things that really ignited not only the Chiefs but Arrowhead was that awful roughing the passer call. That was probably the worst thing that could have probably happened for the Raiders was to have Arrowhead get into the game.
That was yeah. Sorry, Schawe.
No, it's okay. I was gonna say, like, having been at, a lot of games at Arrowhead and knowing how the crowds, help the teams
Yes.
get back into the game, it is probably the one thing that the Raiders did not want to have happen was the crowd to get back into that thing, because they were pretty down on themselves until that happened, and then they had a personal vendetta against that officiating crew, which I do too, and the whole NFL officiating crew is at that with how they're calling pass interference, or not pass interference, roughing the passer. Excuse me.
The NFL has not. I don't understand how they keep fucking things like this up. Every season, they come up with a new rule to completely fuck everything up and, completely derail games. That game last night, or not last night, what day? I don't know. The game between Chiefs.
Monday night.
Yeah, whatever day it was. The Chiefs and Oakland game. I don't know what you want Chris Jones to do there. He has no place to roll. If he does roll right, he's gonna he's gonna blow that guy's ACL.
Right.
He tackled and he put in the I forgot the rules announcer that was on the Monday night call, but he even said, he was like, yeah, he did everything he was supposed to do. He put his elbows down when he landed, so his whole weight wasn't on the quarterback. Shit like that is going to cost teams seasons, and it's not going to go well.
And it did for the Atlanta Falcons against the fucking Buccaneers.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. They should not. Yeah.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's not only that, it's just how inconsistent, like it was called. Later in that game, Mahomes got flung, like what happened to Tua and kind of what happened to Tom Brady. No call was made.
Yep.
I want A, consistency, but also B, this is fucking football. It's not like he was blindsided or thrown down aggressively or in a violent manner. He was simply tackled and stripped as well. Chris Jones had the ball in his hands before they even hit the ground.
Yes.
I don't understand how you can have how many officials are out there? 6, 7, 8 officials on the field, and no one can say, no, I saw this, and maybe come to a conference and actually say, no, let's pick up that flag, say there was no such pass interference. Like, how as a corporation like the NFL, as big as they are, allow shit like this to happen, especially when there's now a lot more money on the lines for not only the players but the fans.
That's a good point.
And they continue to allow this to happen instead of making changes. And then I see it like the last couple of days. Oh yeah, we'll look into it. There may not be changes done this year. Why the fuck not? There's no reason why there shouldn't be any changes made mid-season. And I hate that any sport says that. Well, this is the rules for the year. Well, you know what? You have the power to change that. Fucking do it. Do what's right by not only the players but for the fans watching, because people are getting fucking sick of how soft the NFL has come, especially when they protect only offensive players and not the defensive players. And that's another issue.
The thing that some folks are suggesting is the fix here, though, is disturbing me maybe even more. So it's been suggested that the fix to this is to make sure that anytime roughing the passer is called, or at least a questionable roughing the passer is called, have it available for review. That is right. That is absolutely the last thing that I want to happen, because
it didn't work with the pass interference call. Sorry to cut you off.
Exactly. Yeah, the NFL fucked up pass interference and what pass interference is beyond what I thought was ever possible. And I think if that's the direction that they tried to go with roughing the passer, we're going to be even more frustrated. It's going to take longer.
Right.
We're going to be even more confused, more frustrated. So I don't think the review part of it's the answer. I think the answer is the referees themselves are standing on the fact that they're saying that they are enforcing the rules as they are written right now. And if that's
Really,
the
because
case,
there's 20 holding calls that go uncalled every game for both sides.
but you also don't want that called every single play too.
Exactly.
So, but if the issue is how the rule is written, we need to rewrite the rule. At the
I
end
agree.
Of the day.
Yeah, it's just frustrating to watch because it's just so inconsistent. Like I was saying, I wouldn't say the manner that Mahomes got thrown down was like Tua, but it was the same kind of play in a sense. If you understand what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
it looked exactly similar, less forceful for sure.
Right.
Um,
And if that's what they're trying to protect, then why the fuck didn't you throw a fucking flag? Like that makes no fucking sense.
I hear you, Schawe. I hear you. It was rough to watch. Like I mean, I'm a little Chiefs fan, like I guess, but not by choice. And like that was an awful call. And then going back to the Buccaneers game, like you said, Schawe, the Buccaneers should have lost that game.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Well, they should have had a chance to lose the game.
They were ahead.
No. Atlanta was coming back. That game was, I think, 21-0.
No.
I thought they were winning
They
at the
were
time,
winning.
if I'm not mistaken.
They were winning, Andy.
The Bucks Atlanta.
Yes.
No.
Yes, that's what happened.
Bucks were up like 21-0, and then Atlanta.
Do you want to bet this on the air?
Yeah, I'll bet it on there.
Okay, so what are you saying happened?
So that game was, I believe, 21-0 Bucks, and then Atlanta started coming back in the second half. It was 21-15 when that call was made. If they would have not called the roughing the passer against Atlanta would have had a chance to get the ball back.
They were
about
ahead.
2 minutes left.
I'll pull it up right here. They were ahead. That's wrong week. There we go.
Anyway, while he's pulling that up, Schawe, Chiefs they're going to have their hands full in Arrowhead. They've got Josh Allen. This is the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career he's an underdog at home.
Well, I'm glad we didn't bet because Andy was correct. But it was okay. So yeah, Andy was right because it was 4th and 1, and they should have had to punt, right?
It would have caused a punting opportunity.
But still, you're still, not allowing the players to dictate that game. It becomes ref ball at that point.
Well, and especially when Atlanta scored 15 unanswered.
There was enough time left on that clock that Atlanta would have had a shot to go win that game. There was about 2 minutes left, and Atlanta had momentum. They had scored the last 15 in that game.
Fucking ridiculous, man.
When the officiating starts getting in the way of games, it just makes sports unwatchable.
I can't wait to talk to Carlos and ask him how close Arrowhead was to a riot, because on watching that game on TV, it looked like that place was about to turn over for about 20 minutes straight.
So, with it being a primetime game, you know how drunk Chiefs fans get for noon games? That started 7.5 hours later. Imagine how furious Chiefs fans are given that much more time to drink in the parking lot or at home and go to that game. They were beyond furious. And people were saying, "Oh well, they shouldn't be throwing beer cans on the field." Well, guess what? They had 7 hours more tailgating to do. So what do you expect out of them? Not saying it was right.
I told TJ today, if you can imagine, if the NFL doesn't get this roughing the passer right this whole season, if they've said they probably won't do, can you imagine if this happens up in Buffalo, New York, when I'm assuming that there's going to be some playoff games played in Buffalo, and that fan base has been waiting so long to get a title, and they are favored right now to go get that title. Can you imagine if they have a call for roughing the passer that really truly decides a playoff game up in Buffalo?
That's what I'm saying about getting rules fixed in the middle of the season, because you don't want that to happen. It was like the 1999 Stanley Cup finals when Brett Hull scored that goal in Buffalo with his foot in the crease. That technically that year, that rule, that should not have been a goal, but it did not interfere with how the goalie played the play,
yeah.
and they just let it go because, in all honesty, it should have been a goal, but the rule was so bad that it's like they ignored it. But you don't want something like that to decide a win or a loss, especially in the playoffs. And I don't understand why they just don't get that fixed right away. So.
Yeah, I don't know. That's frustrating. And there was another one too, Schawe. In the 2001 Stanley Cup Finals, my Devils versus your Avalanche. Do you remember the Adam Foote goal?
Oh man, I'm trying to remember right off the bat, but you'll have to remind me.
Adam Foote was like he was like 12 inches offsides, and like the Avalanche scored a pretty pivotal goal that turned the tide in the game.
Yeah,
and like a few days later, and this was before we had all the angles and
Replay.
shit. Yeah, so like a few days later, it was revealed that that goal shouldn't have counted.
That is pretty shitty. But that brings up another thing about like replays. Showing it in slow motion always makes it much worse because we know it's coming and it's not in real time, where things happen bang bang.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes a split decision, like a last second decision, can't be made. So that's another thing. And I know we all see it in slow motion and say, "Oh, he could have avoided that hit," but you watch it you watch something in the real time, it's way different. So
sorry, Schawe.
No, it's okay. No, I was just gonna say like that like the Chris Jones sack. It took him 5 seconds to fall on the ground because of the replay was done in slow motion. Well, in real time, it was a bang bang. Like he sacked Carr, had the ball, and it was all in one play with 1 second. But they say he could have avoided falling on him. Bullshit. That's physics. You can't do that. Anyway.
Yeah, it's dumb. Let's move on to more productive things in the NFL. I have Zach Taylor as a dumb. I forgot what he did. I knew I should have fucking specified when I was on the couch.
That's all you were meant to say, and we're moving on.
God damn it. Josh McDaniels last night had another analytics guy moment when he went for 2 and didn't get it, and he could have just tied the fucking game. I don't get it. I don't know. Schawe, what's your call on that? Are you going for 2, or are you kicking? Are you getting the extra point?
Get the fucking points.
That's exactly. Sorry.
So it's so dumb. Like I don't even at this point. I don't even say the Raiders are desperate. And after that game, yes, when you need points or you need a win. But man, right there, I don't know if I don't give a shit what analytics say. And you just have to fucking get points, man. At least it's tied and give yourself a chance if it happens to go to overtime. And the Chiefs are going to get the ball back. They're going to be able to score more often than not. You might as well tie it to give yourself a chance. Like I don't get some of the analytics that are given out a lot of times. Sometimes a simple play is the best play.
Yeah, you're in Arrowhead, the hardest place to win in the NFL, with a chance to tie the game late in the fourth. Yeah, late in the fourth. You take that every time. Take that every time. And if you don't get it, the crowd is going to be incensed after that again.
Yeah, if you don't get it, you have your chances of your wide receivers running into each other.
Yes.
And
you Raider yourself.
Speaking of Josh McDaniels and terrible play calling, we have the pleasure of now being visited by one Pat Mannion, who would like to tell us about his thoughts on Josh McDaniels' future and a potential suggested replacement and why.
Okay.
Folks, old Josh McDaniels.
Hey, talk louder.
Josh McDaniels really blew it the other night on his play calling. And I think the Raiders blew it. When they hired him, they should have hired someone like Monica Lewinsky.
Oh.
Surely she's going to blow a few, but she won't choke on the big ones, boys.
And that was your moment with Pat.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it was going somewhere.
He's
I
been
love it.
waiting 25 goddamn years to unleash that monster.
I love it, Old Top. That was a great one.
That was awesome. So Josh McDaniels, watch your ass.
Old Top, Old Top, take a seat and talk to your older son here.
About who?
Talk. I don't know, Andy. What do you want to talk to him about? What do you want to pick his brain about?
That was a walk-off home run. I don't know what.
I
That
got a
was
smoke
great.
though, so you're gonna be
No,
by.
that's okay. I can get us through some more NFL fun.
All right.
That is great. That was fucking great.
So, Schawe, really, from an NFL standpoint, I mean, I know
Yeah.
there's some other things that I've got on the notes here, but in the essence of time, I'm more ready to talk about NHL, man.
Me too.
I would prefer. I know I asked you this question, and maybe you can help me and the Asscasters understand this. So the NHL season technically opened up in Prague, which, I mean, if we're thinking of expansion and trying to find new markets, that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I think you had a little bit more of a practical answer of why the NHL does that. Why do they do that?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's not like a market like the NBA going over to China. That's they've tried that a couple times. I don't know exactly how well that went over as far as like afterwards, besides ticket sales, merchandise sales after that. I just don't know. But what I do know is that they have a lot of players that do come out of Prague, and they also had a couple of preseason games elsewhere. I know one was up in Sweden. So I mean, they're going kind of back, quote unquote, home for some of those players, and maybe trying to grow the game more and helping the game more there to generate some more interest out of those European countries that do tend to gravitate more towards hockey than I would say rest of the globe, because it's gonna be a lot harder to go to a place like Kenya, which, I mean, surprisingly they do have hockey teams down there, but the ice availability is hard to come by, and
Dude, their
sometimes
national team jerseys are fucking sick. I want to buy
They-
one.
Kenya?
Yeah, they
Yes,
are.
they're
They are
fucking
really
sick.
cool. They are really cool. But that was just an example. But like teams like that, like just it's gonna be harder to get into, because unlike the NBA, you have to have a specialized piece of, I guess, what would you call it? The rink, ice. You have to have ice to play ice hockey. So it's going to be harder to come by in certain countries, and so they go probably to the easier countries that can support it better than like the Middle East, and like in Dubai or somewhere, like I said, Kenya, or I wouldn't say China can't support it, but the interest is not as high as obviously like the NBA it would be.
So, what would your feel be as far as like the actual players themselves? Like, I know in the NFL, I know the players, their thoughts on going and playing overseas is just like playing Thursday night games. They they absolutely hate it, like from multiple standpoints. And is it the same way, or do you think it's the same way with the guys that had to open up that season in Prague? Do they get a little bit of additional rest time when they come back stateside?
So I think like they go over like a week though before, so they can get rid of lag and just acclimated to city that they're visiting, and obviously it's half of it's for appearances and half of it's so that the players aren't necessarily rushed in while they're flying overseas. But I'm sure like as soon as the game's over, they come over pretty quick to get reacclimated to the U.S. and the schedule and all that stuff. So I think it's better than like the NFL schedule. And obviously London's a lot closer, but I think doing it at the very beginning of the season, getting it out of the way right away, instead of having somewhere in the middle where you have to have maybe a week and a half time off for the players, be detrimental, especially for like injuries or anything like that. So I think it's okay. It would be nice to see them go into different markets out over there, just something different than Prague and Sweden and some of the typical stops that they make over there. But that it's just the game trying to grow. But then again, we know the NHL is really bad at their own marketing. So maybe with ESPN and TNT with their television rights help get into different markets and maybe bigger markets and something different that maybe explodes the game of hockey.
I mean, I have to be honest. I really, really had to pay attention to the fact that they had that game in Prague, or else I wouldn't have known it was happening. Because I thought, based off of the way that ESPN was doing their marketing, I thought the opening night, what they were calling the opening night, I thought that was last night when the Rangers played Tampa and Vegas played the Kings.
Yeah, I would agree. They didn't market themselves very well with those games. They call it the Global Series for those typically, and like you said, you have to be an NHL fan to know anything like that is going on. Because other than that, the only quote unquote unique game that you like, I would say maybe fans who are on the fence or outside of hockey would be the Winter Classic game. And because that's the only real hardcore marketing they do for those specialized games. Other than that, those global games are very, very rarely marketed from outside of the NHL fandom.
Yeah, and well, I remember they had the Stadium Series for a bit, but to your point, Schawe, there wasn't really too much fanfare about it.
You boys feel like giving a season preview of coming attractions in the NHL?
Well, I mean, we're not going to do a whole 32 teams like a lot of podcasts do, and we can do each of our
Short
teams
and
if
sweet.
you want.
Remember, I've got that 9 p.m. bedtime.
I know, and the Avs play here at 8:30 our time, so I want to get to watching them. So I think.
Hey, Schawe, where are you going to
You want me to start off? Do what?
Where are you going to watch that at? You're
in
Hutch.
my
Never mind.
girlfriend's living room. Yeah. So, but no, tonight the Colorado Avalanche raised their banner on the Stanley Cup tonight. So I anticipate them losing tonight because that's just what teams do when they raise banners at the beginning of the season. Just like the LA Rams, they might throw a goose egg. You never know. But for the season, I'm going to do a quick preview. I think the Avs will be near the top of the Western Conference like usual. They're not as maybe good depth-wise, but they still have a really good top six. Obviously, when you have guys like Nathan McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, Mikko Rantanen, you're gonna win a lot of games. And I think the real question is really in goal, because the defense is probably one of the better defenses in the league. When you have Cale Makar and not Jonathan Taves. I forgot his first name already, but Taves on your first D pairing, and then you come back with
Bob Taves.
Bowen Byram. You have Eric Johnson, Eric Girard. That's probably one of the best defenses in the entire league. But the real question will be who's going to be the starter in net for the Avalanche. And they traded for a goalie from the New York Rangers, Georgiev, and he is set to start tonight.
Georgiev's good.
Yeah, he looked fine in preseason, but I don't mind giving a guy like Francis also a lot of looks as well, because he's put in the time, and he's such a great, he's a good team guy, but he's also put his due in. So I wouldn't mind if the Avs played him a while, and if it doesn't work, you have Georgiev right there. But I think this year they'll have a really good chance at repeating as champs, or at least making a good run at it. But honestly, I feel like Edmonton is going to be one of those teams that they're going to have a lot of tough times against, and same with Calgary after they've retooled their roster as well. But I feel like the Avs are going to have a really solid year again, and I think they're going to make another good run at the Stanley Cup.
Ooh, I kind of agree with you, Schawe.
Yeah.
It's so hard to repeat as a champion in any sport, let alone hockey.
Mm-hmm.
But fuck, man, they're so good. And I hate it, but they are. It's their title to lose. I hope Florida actually starts spreading their playoff hockey team wings and becomes a force in the late in the season, late in the postseason. Mm-hmm. I think that will be very interesting to watch. The Southeastern Conference. Jesus Christ. That's going to be another interesting. That is a powerful conference, and I think Florida's coming out of it, but I wouldn't guarantee it.
And with Tampa Bay still in that division, you can't knock them out until they they show signs of
Michael Myers, you must kill him.
Yep,
Halloween
you must cut off the
end.
head.
Hey, that's our podcast. Or that's our hashtag for the podcast today, boys.
What, Halloween must end?
Halloween ends. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure we won't have any copyright issues with that.
Well, I wanted to piggyback off the movie, so
Yeah,
you know.
so good time.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, TJ. I'm excited to see the Devils and see how they progress this year and see if they make any strides towards being not a contender, but not only battling for a playoff spot, because their goaltending is always going to be suspect until they find a guy they can rely on, depending on which 20 they go with in their system.
Hey, we got Vitek Vanacek, which he is a serviceable goalie.
Serviceable.
McKenzie, well, he was a starter for a playoff team last year in the
Yeah,
Capitals.
but yeah.
And he held his own. There was no real fall off between him and I can't think of what's his nuts right now, the starter. But Mackenzie Blackwood, he had a whole year to get healthy. Well, almost a whole year to get healthy. Before last season, Canada, the national team, was giving him a look at the Olympics.
So I knew he'd be available.
Well, not for Jesus Christ. He was being looked at by Canada national team big boys. Sorry. But then he had injuries and an off year and didn't really play much. So I'm excited to see the Devils. I think they'll battle for a playoff or for a wild card spot. Miles Wood is going to help out tremendously. Him being back, his speed will help. Thomas Tatar, I didn't think I'd be this excited for him. He has looked great in the preseason. His shot is popping. His legs are under him. He looks completely different from 365 days ago. So I am really excited to see how Thomas Tatar fits into what we're doing with our forwards.
Yeah, but at the same token, Tatar has always had that he's going to be, a special player, but he's just too inconsistent for him to really. I mean, obviously you see his resume, stick with anybody for a long time, and he's a good guy to have depth wise, but I don't know if you can rely on him in your top six. Maybe top six, but not top 3 for sure.
No, and I don't think he'll be seeing top 3 minutes for sure. I don't think he'll see top 6 minutes.
If he is, you're going to have a long season.
Yeah. No, I don't think he'll be top 6.
Yeah.
They have a lot of youth in that position, and they're kind of coming of their own. And they also picked up Andre Palat, which will help them if they do get to the playoffs, and just kind of help the maturity in the locker room.
Right. Andy, do you want to talk about Vegas? I watched them last night. They looked pretty good, honestly. Eichel is fully healthy now. They're starting Logan Thompson in net, and he actually looked pretty good in his first outing this year.
Yeah, I had told TJ that my thought for the whole year was just to bet against Vegas for the entire season, which failed me last night. So officially, hockey season is official with me because I lost my first bet of the season last night. Looking at the stats though on that Knights-Kings game.
Yeah.
The third star of the game was Jonathan Quick. He had 47 saves in a loss last night.
Oh, he was he actually played really good, and the Kings really screwed him over. They gave up a lot of chances, and really just their defense is just not good enough to help him win games. And so I can see them losing a lot of games like this where it really comes down to who gets the last goal. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but really, I mean, they can score, but they also are going to get scored on a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess surprisingly good for Vegas last night. And then what I was telling TJ is that, do you know who Megan Chayka is?
Not right off the bat. You have to remind me.
Okay, so if you watch the NHL draft, there was a blonde chick in front of a laptop the whole time, and they kept deferring to her for real analysis of the draft. Anyway, so that chick is some brilliant tech entrepreneur, data, like number crunching nerd.
Like like analytics.
Yep,
person?
analytics. Yep. So
Okay.
she is now she's over with ESPN to some extent. I don't remember if ESPN actually covered the NHL draft, but if that was the case, she was with them all the way back then. But I know she's with them now because she's working with all the gambling guys out there, and she really likes Vegas. She thinks that the head coach is solid. And she thinks that Vegas is good enough to go in excess of 97 points for the season.
I mean, Bruce Cassidy has shown he can will a team, especially one decimated with injuries, to the playoffs to make a good run. But I mean, obviously, it's a new team, a new kind of roster. A couple of goalies who are not necessarily right now starter material or was not thought of before this season. So it's going to be interesting to see how far Bruce Cassidy can get this Knights team. And don't get me wrong, I think they're a good team. I don't know how deep a run they will make in the playoffs if they get there, especially when they have to face teams coming out of the Pacific just like Calgary and Edmonton. And even Vancouver may even make a little bit of a splash if they get things turned around as well, given their roster. But
I'm more
I mean,
confident.
I'm not betting against Vegas in the Pacific, but I'm not completely sold on them.
I'm betting against them, and I'm betting against them for two reasons: Jack Eichel and Bruce Cassidy. That's why. Okay. So,
yeah, Jack Eichel's not exactly the best teammate out there.
He's fucking
from people.
He's locker room fucking poison, man. And fucking Bruce Cassidy was fired from the Bruins for not being liked by his players. You are adding just two toxic fucking chemicals into that locker room. Ugh, no one's gonna want to go to the rink, man.
You know, if they add some sugar and spice to those chemicals, you get the Powerpuff Girls.
Or you get meth.
That'd be the Columbus team.
But yeah, TJ, that's another thing I was gonna say. I'm glad you said that, not me, because I don't want to look like an asshole. But
I'm an asshole.
No, it's gonna be it's like I said, it's a new beginning for both these gentlemen. So see if they get the same results or if they change their stars. So
what the
I know
management of that team
I agree
is awful.
But you have guys like Pietrangelo and Stone in that room. You think maybe they take Jack aside and say, "Hey, buddy, we know you're like one of the better players on this team, but you got to check your ego at the door because we're here, not trying to score 90 points. We're here to try to win a Stanley Cup. This isn't Buffalo."
God, you
and
know.
Don't get me wrong, Buffalo is on the right track after the trade, but at the same time, Jack Eichel's a really good player, and he can score you, like I said, 80, 90 points a year. But his head has to be on straight.
But I think comparing those two teams in the next 3 years, I would pick Buffalo over the Vegas all day.
Well, obviously, most of Vegas their core is aging out.
Yeah.
Like, they're starting to become older. Like, they're not – this isn't 2017, 2018 when they made their miraculous run to the Stanley Cup.
Well,
they've
no draft capital
gotten worse
either.
each year. Exactly. They had to trade a lot of it away. They had to trade a lot of their good players away because they're in cap hell as well. So they're in a really tight spot. It's going to be interesting to see, like you say, in 3 years. I think you're right. I think Buffalo has a better outlook in the next 3 years than the Knights do. So
Asscasters, I'll say this. At the very beginning when we started this podcast back at episode 1, we were just right in the heart of hockey playoffs. And I think for TJ and Schawe, I don't know, maybe this is right, or maybe it's not, but hockey is their favorite sport. And if not, it's pretty damn close. But so we had a lot of success on the podcast getting downloads from folks, not only all over the United States when we were starting the podcast off, and we spoke a lot about hockey, but we actually had international followers as we talked hockey. So we're going to continue to do that. I think here in the last month or so, as football's got going, we've focused on it. But now that hockey is back in play, we're going to talk hockey, and we're going to love to talk hockey. And if you want to communicate with us and just see us at Asscasters on Twitter, just communicate with us, and we're willing to talk about your team, your players, questions that you have about hockey. We've got a good skill set at that. Myself is the third wheel on that. I'm not going to say that I have the best skill set there, but TJ and Schawe will definitely be able to help you out if you reach out to us at Asscasters.
Yep.
And Asscasters, I especially have no life, and nor do our interns. So yes, we are available.
So tying a bow on NHL then, Schawe and TJ, do you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about NHL-wise? I know we're going to talk about it a ton more here in the coming
Go ahead,
weeks.
TJ.
I do. Mika, I don't know.
Mika Zibanejad.
He had a breakout year last year. Really proved himself as a top three, the number one center. Sorry. I didn't know if that was gonna last, and sure as shit, he looked on fire last night. The only thing that stopped him from a hat trick was hitting the post on an empty net, and it was a solid clunk. But he looked
like an Iowa State field goal,
or an Iowa State girl. But
nice.
Sorry, Iowa State.
No, we're not.
God damn it, Carlos! Why'd you say that?
You told me to.
He had a big hog. Zibanejad, though, Andy, and I think you were really talking about him as the playoffs were kind of really heating up last year, or last playoff season. He was really catching your eye, and he looked great again. So he might be a player to look out for. Betting-wise, you might want to take a look at his point totals.
Or shots like Jack Hughes.
By the way, I looked at Jack Hughes shot props today, and I couldn't find them yet, so that was disturbing.
It's not. I don't think it's going to be as easy as it was last year.
I didn't see any player props for New Jersey on their game, so I was sadly disappointed.
Another guy to look at, and as I'm looking at some of the games going on right now, Cole Caulfield already has 2 goals tonight, so he's another guy to kind of keep your eye on, like Zibanejad.
Who's Zibanejad? Okay, so you know me, I'm an idiot with hockey, but when I watched the playoffs last season for the Rangers, dude, whenever the Rangers got on the power play, just go ahead and chalk up a goal for Zibanejad. That dude was a stud. He would just post up in his little spot, and eventually they'd cycle the puck to him, and that dude, he'd take a shot, and it was over.
It's like it was in, I guess, quote unquote, in the same position where Alex Ovechkin gets his one-timers from. So that, I guess, if you're looking towards the goal, it'd be the left wing side. But yeah, he was money in the playoffs, and last year, a stat for him, he had 15 power play goals alone. So that's pretty damn good. And
he scored.
He's become a different player once he got traded from the Ottawa Senators over to the New York Rangers. So he is deadly from that circle.
Oh, for sure. That shot it's accurate. It finds the back of the net. He had 1 power play goal last night, and he had a shorty. So yeah, I mean, to your point, he's just adding on. Cole Caulfield, to your point, Schawe, I am so glad he has recovered from whatever slump he had after his freshman season. Martin St. Louis, I loved watching him as a player, and he's just a really good guy. Normally, I don't like Montreal, but I do like that Montreal's doing well with Cole Caulfield and Martin St. Louis. So I'm just thrilled that he is kind of coming into his own, and he's more confident, and he's playing like a little sniper, man.
Yeah. And Andy, Cole Caulfield is an American hockey player. He went to the University of Wisconsin, and he's only 5'7", but fuck, he has a really good shot. One of the best already in the NHL.
Well, I'm liking this guy more and
just
more.
a really quick snapshot, and He is, yeah. I think working with Martin St. Louis has really upped his game. It really got his confidence back. And TJ, I don't know if you answer me this. A guy like Martin St. Louis, who back in his day had to go through a lot of obstacles, especially when teams. I'm trying to think
He
of
was
a
undrafted.
good way to put this. Well, he was undrafted, but it was because of his height. He was a shorter player and a smaller player. He was looked over. No pun intended. You think having a guy like that for Cole Caulfield, who's also a very short player, small player, helps that guy? I think it does. I think it's really, and not only just because St. Louis is a really skilled player and sees the ice better than most anyone else in the league, but just as someone who's faced that same adversity, I think that he's a perfect coach for Caulfield.
Yeah, I mean, playing hockey as a small guy is a lot different than playing as a big guy.
I know.
I mean, it seems simple, but it is. You have to be more aware of your surroundings. You have to play smarter. It's kind of like defensive driving in a way.
Says the guy that drives a Mustang.
That's what Coach Lloyd told me back in the day. But yeah,
how's Mrs. Lloyd doing?
I don't know.
Anyway,
we still get Christmas
but
cards
no,
from her.
yeah.
No,
Those are just some of the guys I think we think in the NHL are going to have some breakout years, some younger guys, and obviously we expect hopefully Ovechkin. I don't know. I kind of want to see him make a push for Gretzky's record, even though he's not necessarily a Putin hater, but as a player, he's one of the best goal scorers ever. It'd be cool to see him make a push for that record.
I don't really think we can hold any of those Russian players. I sounded so old and white and racist there. I don't think
silly Russians.
I don't think we can completely hold. Absolutely we can't hold them accountable because we don't necessarily know the situations that they're being put under by the government in Russia.
Yeah.
So
I would agree.
I kind of hesitate to talk on. I know Ovi's Twitter picture was at one point a picture with him and Putin, but you also
what you didn't see was the gun underneath.
Yeah, or the I don't know.
The cyanide pill.
Cyanide pill, or the I don't know. Have you seen the one like they can like shoot a little like it's a
dart?
No, it's like an air. Like it knocks you dead with like a fucking jolt. Like it just sends a jolt and it's like boom, you're done.
I have no idea what you're talking about. That's interesting. Not saying you're wrong. I just have no idea.
No, I've been watching too many of those undiscovered or uncovered documentaries.
Oh, I know. You tried to get me to watch that shit.
You're gonna fucking watch it too, man.
Schawe, I know you got a game to catch here, so let's just hop right into Mike Leach talking coffee.
Yes, let's do that.
It's early. How do you take your coffee? What's the best way to take your coffee? Well, coffee tastes terrible anyway, so don't put anything in it to obstruct the harsh, bitter taste, and just put it down one sip at a time, So it's just all about the effect. The taste, it's not about the experience at all. It's about the outcome. No, the experience is terrible. Coffee, it is early. How do you take
So I agree.
I love. God damn it.
Mike Leach,
I agree.
2 weeks in a
hate
row.
coffee.
I love coffee, what it does to me, but I also hate what it does to me. Like I said, Asscasters, I've started. This is my second week of work again, and my belly is not handling the energy drinks well. Just
Yeah, they don't usually. If you drink 20 a day, that's how you get kidneys too.
I was only drinking one, man.
Okay, whatever you say.
Hey, I did say it.
well, okay, well played. Yeah, no, I love Mike Leach. We have a Mike Leach like quote of the week.
I mean, as long as he's getting interviewed weekly, I think we are.
Oh, there's a treasure trove on YouTube about just fucking great Mike Leach quotes.
Oh,
when we have a little bit more time, I know that we've got playoff baseball, so we'll dig into this a little bit more. but there is apparently a video of Bob Costas. So we know that Bob Costas doesn't make an appearance for Fox very often anymore, but he does show up for playoff baseball. And apparently there's about a 15-minute video compilation on YouTube of him promoting shows for Fox while he's doing playoff baseball, and all the shows have been canceled. So,
Oh, I love that video. It's
oh,
so
you've seen
good.
it?
Yes, it is so good.
So
God.
when we get an opportunity, we'll talk a little bit more playoff baseball. We'll talk about if my parlay for the Braves, Yankees, and Dodgers to collectively win their divisional series here pays off. I've also bet them individually for what that's worth. But we'll get into a little bit of baseball. Might be able to talk about how the Cardinals closed out their season with some Hall of Famers and Pujols getting to 700.
Let's not again
We
do
could
that
if
yet.
we
That's
want to.
still a open wound.
But in the essence of time, final thoughts. We'll start. Schawe, why don't we start with you today?
Well, I am fucking excited that hockey season is here. That way I have something to watch almost every night of the week instead of waiting for the weekend to watch football. And it takes my time away from now OU football, so now I have more time to spend watching hockey and hopefully see the Chiefs also make a run towards another Super Bowl appearance. But at the same time, as much as I hate the Raiders, I want to thank Jacobs and Adams for scoring enough points for me to win my fantasy this week, but not enough to beat the Chiefs. Thank you.
Isn't that beautiful
That's
when
about
it
the
works out that
perfect
way?
storm for you.
It was. They both got me, I think, over 25 points, and I was able to overcome the number one seed last week, and now I am the number one team. Don't know how that happened.
Wow.
So
pretty impressive.
I know, and going from number one to the worst team in the league. PJ, what about you?
Nice transition.
One, I'm not excited about the Cowboys. I just want to put that out there. I'm still not excited for them.
I'm just glad you're a realistic Cowboys fan. I appreciate that about you.
I don't give a shit. I know it's gonna come. I know it. So fuck, I'm not gonna get my hopes up. I know what's before me. The one thing I don't want to self-gloss, but one, I'm glad hockey season's here. The self-gloss comes from Sunday. Schawe, I felt like, because I've lost a little bit of weight since last year.
Yeah.
Fucking the legs felt a little bit under me. I was feeling pretty damn good.
Okay.
You know what? You played pretty damn good for your first game of the year.
Yeah, explain what you're talking about.
So Schawe and I had a hockey game on Sunday, and I think I started last season. I was weighing 220. Just a fat motherfucker. But it was okay. And then, I don't know, I lost weight, not for doing anything in particular, probably just stress and financial issues. And then, so yeah, I started.
It's hard to eat food when you don't have money.
Well, I noticed it during Riverfest. I was like, holy fuck! Like, am I just like more in shape now, or is everyone hungover? And so I wasn't sure.
Yes.
And it was all.
Yeah, but yeah, I kind of noticed. I was like, holy fuck! I feel like an actual like someone who used to play sports and skated quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. No, you did great. I'm glad we're starting our personal season again, and we played all right. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but I felt like we still played good.
We fucking had to play 2-on-3 hockey. Sorry, but we had to play 2-on-3 hockey.
That's a new rule, TJ. Like in any other hockey game, you're not allowed less than 3 skaters on the ice. But now our men's league allows there to be 3-on-2 if there's a penalty called, when it should be 4-on-3 in overtime. So it was a very strange not turn of events, but just set of events, and we lost on that because how the fuck are you supposed to play defense with 2 guys on the ice? Sorry. Yeah.
Andy,
it was weird, but anyway.
The one thing, the last thing I had to mention, We were getting shit because the
one guy on our team.
Yeah, the one guy, the one schmuck. He's not. Well, he's a little bit of schmuck. So, Asscasters, about 7 episodes ago, we all came in readily hungover, and Andy puked on air. Well, we were at
made me feel better.
We were at a teammate's birthday the night before, and this teammate was so, he was thrilled that we all talked about how fucked up we got for his birthday, and including him going and puking in the bathroom, but he also wanted me to give out his name on the podcast. So, T-Mitch, we're giving you the shout out. You are the birthday boy. You said you watched us for motivation, or you listened to us for motivation, so here you are, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, and also, he was wasted for our game. He had a golf tournament on Sunday that he had to go to. I don't know how he made it to our game and stayed on his feet for most of that game.
Yeah, there were a lot of alcoholics practicing on Sunday. There were a lot of them in full force.
Yep. But no, Andy, what about your final thoughts?
Okay, so I've got a little bit of grab bag that we'll go through here really quick. So we've talked about KU Oklahoma. I think KU can win that game straight up. I'm the more I think about this, I agree. The more I think about this, Oklahoma has proven that they cannot stop the run, and KU has proven that they can fucking run. So that seems like a bad combination for a 9-point line. USC is undefeated. Utah's lost to Florida, and they lost to UCLA. UCLA's good. Florida's proving themselves not to be as good over the season, so that loss is not looking as good. I think USC getting 3.5 points, I feel really good there, but my best bet of the entire week, I just took tonight, the Buffalo Bills scoring more than 27.5 points in the shootout against the Chiefs at Arrowhead next week. Give me that all day long. I feel really
I'd be at that game too.
Man, I not to say that the Chiefs aren't going to put up points, and the Chiefs could fucking win that game for all I know. That's fine. All I'm saying is that I feel very confident that Josh Allen and the Bills are throwing up over 27.5 points in that game. Finally, non-related to betting, but kind of I'll circle it back to betting. Victor Wembanyama is fucking a freak of nature.
Is his name Victor?
Victor.
Or did he play Victor Wembanyama? That sounds like the player for Celtic.
Well, he's actually the French basketball player that's 7'4" and is pretty much Goat Boy that we created on fucking NBA Jam 25 years ago.
He is a freak, though, dude.
This guy is unreal. Now, I have never... Okay, when I saw Kevin Durant do what he's able to do from three-point range, I thought that was the most insane thing that I'd ever seen, because big people just aren't supposed to do that. This dude has 5 inches on Kevin Durant. He's 7'4" and can shoot three-pointers, and his wingspan, I don't even want to guess, but he looks like a 7'77". Like, it's unbelievable how big this dude is. He's good enough to the point that Vegas has made the following bet available. I told you I'd circle it back to gambling. There are now 5 teams in the NBA who are projected to have under 25 total wins next season.
Are you serious?
And that is because they are all going to be tanking for the French freak, fucking Victor Wembanyama.
So Vegas is factoring in tanking now.
Vegas has got to make their money at the end of the day.
Can't blame them.
So, anyway, that's all I've got. That's all TJ's got. Schwammy, we appreciate you working through the technical stuff to help us get set over here for episode 17 of the Asscasters podcast. Again, Asscasters, follow us at Asscasters on Twitter. Reach out to us, be interactive, and visit our friends at 3chai.com for all your Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10 needs. We will talk to you next week. See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Woo-tang.